From having their entire body broken to being 2 inches from dying, there's a reason why WWE has urged fans not to try wrestling moves at home. And what better way to kick off this video than with the Nature Boy? Did you know that Ric Flair's drinking habit almost cost him his life? It was a normal day for the Nature Boy, who had been enjoying his retirement from the ring. He had a few drinks with his friends and family, and then he went to bed. But little did he know, his body was shutting down from years of alcohol abuse. He woke up the next morning feeling sick and weak and rushed to the hospital. There, he was diagnosed with multiple organ problems and placed in a medically induced coma. He underwent surgery to remove part of his bowel and had a pacemaker inserted to regulate his heart rate. He said that he was on life support for 10 days and that he had a 20% chance of survival. Ric Flair miraculously survived his near-death experience and made a full recovery. He returned to WWE on November 19, 2017 to celebrate his daughter Charlotte's victory over Alexa Bliss at Survivor Series. He thanked the fans for their prayers and support and said that he was happy to be alive. He also vowed to change his lifestyle and stop drinking alcohol. And so are we. Next up at number 9, we've got The Undertaker. It was supposed to be a dream match for many fans who grew up watching The Undertaker and Goldberg dominate the WWE and WCW respectively. But when the two legends finally clashed at Super Showdown 2019, it turned out to be a nightmare for everyone involved. The match was filled with botches, injuries, and disappointment. It left both superstars and fans wishing it never happened. The match started off with a bang as Goldberg speared The Undertaker twice in a row, almost ending the match in seconds. But the dead man kicked out, and the match went downhill from there. Goldberg tried to lock in a knee bar, but it looked more like a leg hug. He then attempted to hit his signature jackhammer, but he dropped The Undertaker on his head, almost breaking his neck. In the documentary The Last Ride, The Undertaker revealed how close he was to dying from that move. "I was 2 inches away from making my wife a widow and my kids fatherless."
I was 2 inches away from making my wife a widow, my kids fatherless.
Luckily, he escaped with no serious damage. The match ended with The Undertaker hitting a sloppy tombstone piledriver on Goldberg, who was bleeding profusely from hitting his head on the ring post earlier. The crowd booed as the bell rang and both superstars looked unhappy and frustrated. In an interview with the True Geordie podcast, The Undertaker took responsibility for the match and said he should have said no to it.
Maybe we shouldn't do that.
He said he only agreed to do it because he wanted to give the fans what they wanted, but he didn't consider the risks involved.
People are expecting, big things because it's Goldberg and it's Undertaker and it's the first time that we've ever fought.
He also didn't blame Goldberg for the botched jackhammer.
Yeah, that was one of those things that happened, I mean, he's done that move a million times.
And number 8, Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon is known for his daredevil stunts and high-risk moves. He's jumped off cages, scaffolds, helicopters, and even the Titantron. But one of his most dangerous moments came at Survivor Series 2001 when he faced Kurt Angle in a street fight. During the match, Angle attempted to suplex Shane through a glass panel that was part of the stage set. However, the glass did not break on the first try, and Shane landed hard on his head and neck on the concrete floor. Angle tried again, but this time the glass shattered and Shane fell through it, cutting himself badly, proving that breaking the glass ceiling in WWE sometimes involves breaking actual glass. Angle then dragged Shane to another glass panel and repeated the same move, but again the glass didn't break on the first attempt. Shane suffered multiple concussions, a bruised tailbone, a separated shoulder, and several stitches from this brutal encounter. He later said he thought he was going to die that night. On to number 7, Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is one of the most dominant and powerful wrestlers in WWE history. He's won multiple championships, defeated legends like The Undertaker and Goldberg, and even conquered the UFC. But he also had a near-fatal experience in 2002 and had to undergo surgery to repair his damaged vertebra. He was out of action for over a year and sued WWE for negligence. Lesson learned: don't sandbag Brock Lesnar unless you want to join the Broken Neck Club. Next up, our personal favorite at number 6, Mick Foley. Mick Foley is one of the most hardcore and legendary wrestlers of all time. He has put his body through unimaginable pain and torture for the sake of entertainment. He's been thrown off cages, sat on fire, hit with barbed wire bats, and more. But perhaps his most infamous moment came at King of the Ring 98, where he faced The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match. During the match, The Undertaker threw Foley off the top of the cell onto the announce table below, causing him to lose consciousness and dislocate his shoulder. Foley was stretchered out, but he refused to quit and climbed back up the cell. The Undertaker then chokeslammed him through the roof of the cell onto the ring mat, knocking out one of his teeth and causing him to bleed profusely from his mouth and nose. Foley also suffered a concussion, a punctured lung, internal bleeding, and several other injuries from this match. He later said he thought he was going to die several times during that night. Why use a regular table when you can just use an announce table? Am I right? Not to forget, at number 5, the legendary Jerry Lawler. Jerry Lawler is one of the most respected and beloved personalities in WWE history. He's been a wrestler, commentator, manager, interviewer, and more. He's also been involved in some memorable feuds and matches, such as his rivalry with Andy Kaufman and his Kiss My Foot match with Bret Hart. But he also had a life-threatening incident in 2012 when he suffered a heart attack on live TV during an episode of Raw. Lawler had just competed in a tag team match with Randy Orton against CM Punk and Dolph Ziggler when he collapsed at the announce table. He was given CPR and defibrillated by the medical staff and then rushed to the hospital. He was clinically dead for 20 minutes and had to undergo an angioplasty to unblock his arteries. He miraculously survived and returned to WWE a few months later. Now that's what we call an intense match. At number 4, the Game Triple H. Triple H is one of the most successful and influential wrestlers in WWE history. He's won multiple championships, led factions like D-Generation X and Evolution, married Stephanie McMahon, and became an executive and authority figure. He's also been involved in some of the most epic and brutal matches of all time, such as his Hell in a Cell match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 28. But he also had a near-death experience in 2001 when he faced Chris Jericho in a Last Man Standing match at Fully Loaded. During the match, Triple H tore his quad muscle completely off the bone while attempting to break up the walls of Jericho. He continued the match despite being in excruciating pain and unable to stand on his own. He later said he could have bled to death or lost his leg if he had not received immediate medical attention. He underwent surgery and was out of action for 8 months. Not surprised at the amount of times these fighters suffer through intense head trauma, and this one is no different. At number 3, Edge. Edge is one of the most decorated wrestlers in WWE history. He's won multiple championships, pioneered a TLC match with Christian, had legendary feuds with John Cena and The Undertaker, and retired as the World Heavyweight Champion. But he also had a close call in 2003 when he faced Brock Lesnar in a singles match at Rebellion. During the match, Lesnar delivered a botched F5 to Edge, causing him to land on his head and neck. Edge suffered a severe concussion and temporary paralysis from this move. He later said that he thought he was going to die or be paralyzed for life from this incident. Lesnar may have F5'd Edge, but Edge won Gravity Zero. Well, almost. Even if you're not a big fan of the WWE, you've definitely heard about him. At number 2, John Cena. John Cena is one of the most popular and polarizing wrestlers in WWE history. He's won multiple championships, headlined WrestleMania several times, faced legends like The Rock and Shawn Michaels, and became a Hollywood star. He's also been known for his never-give-up attitude and his ability to overcome injuries and obstacles. But he also had a scary moment in 2007 when he faced Mr. Kennedy in a singles match on Raw. During the match, Cena attempted to hip toss Kennedy, but Kennedy landed awkwardly on Cena's arm, causing him to tear his pectoral muscle completely off the bone. Muscles are so strong, they can tear themselves off. Cena finished the match despite being in agony and unable to lift his arm. He later said he could have died from blood loss or infection had he not received immediate surgery. He was out of action for 4 months. And as usual, we've saved the best for last. At number 1, Vince McMahon. Yep, that's right, the chairman and CEO of WWE, as well as an occasional wrestler and on-screen character. He's been involved in some of the most controversial and memorable angles and matches in WWE history, such as his feud with Stone Cold Steve Austin and his involvement in the Montreal Screwjob. He's also taken some insane bumps and risks for the sake of entertainment, such as being blown up in a limousine and having his head shaved by Donald Trump. But he also had a brush with death in 2006 when he faced Shawn Michaels in a no-holds-barred match at WrestleMania 22. During the match, Michaels placed McMahon's head inside a trash can and then jumped off a ladder onto him with an elbow drop. McMahon suffered a concussion, a broken tailbone, and internal bleeding from this move. He later said he thought he was going to die from this stunt. Vince took trash talking to a whole new level. Literally. And that's it for this video, folks. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more awesome content. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get notified of our latest uploads. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.